Welcome to the Deep Dive from the AI Brief, episode 270. This week, we're looking past just the usual software updates. We're really digging into massive financial bets, some pretty dramatic strategic changes, and, well, AI getting physical into hardware and robots.
Yeah, feels like a week defined by, let's say, high-stakes spending and this really aggressive race to control the entire workflow. We're seeing companies committing billions, actually changing the operating systems we use every day. It's all about grabbing a dominant position.
So our mission today is pretty clear. Pull out the most crucial so what insights for you from all these big strategic moves. We're focusing on, let's see, four main things. That surprising AI bubble warning from a huge player, OpenAI reportedly jumping into physical hardware, Microsoft embedding AI deeper into Windows, and wow, the momentum in robotics.
Okay, let's start with maybe the biggest financial gamble playing out right now, which interestingly comes with this huge warning attached.
Right, we're talking about Meta. Their CEO, Mark Zuckerberg, is making one of the biggest infrastructure commitments ever, but at the same time, he's kind of sounding the alarm.
Exactly. He's actually joined other voices warning that this massive surge in AI spending, well, it could definitely end up looking like a classic infrastructure investment bubble. He even points to history, the railroad boom, the dot-com crash, showing how investing too much, too early in basic capacity can cause real market problems.
But okay, if he sees that risk so clearly, why commit $600 billion through 2028 for data centers and AI infrastructure just in the U.S.? I mean, that doesn't sound like caution. That sounds like doubling down, big time.
And that's the core strategic puzzle, isn't it? Despite that threat of a correction, Meta's calculation seems to be that the risk of not investing enough is actually the bigger danger. He called AI the most important technology in history. So for them, building out this capacity is just table stakes for staying in the game.
If you look at those historical bubbles he mentioned, wasn't the issue often investing way ahead of, like, actual proven returns? So for you listening, how do you even calculate the ROI on $600 billion when the tech is still, finding its feet?
That's precisely the tension point. Some observers, MIT researchers included, have pointed out this, pretty staggering 95% failure rate in early AI pilot programs across the board. So when you put that kind of R&D uncertainty next to a $600 billion spending plan, you realize it's driven less by proven profits right now and more by maybe strategic necessity, fear of missing out on the fundamental shift. ROI is almost impossible to measure currently. It's an existential cost.
That really sets a dramatic stage.
Yeah.
Okay, so from that foundational infrastructure bet, let's pivot to who wants to control the endpoint, the device actually in your hand.
Which brings us neatly to OpenAI. They seem to be making a very aggressive move into hardware, clearly signaling they're done being just a cloud AI provider.
And this is where it gets really interesting. Reports say they're developing a whole line of AI-powered consumer gadgets, not just like one test product. We're looking at a potential late 2026, maybe early 2027 launch, focusing on things like screen-free, context-aware devices. Think smart speakers, AR glasses, a digital voice recorder, even a discrete wearable pin.
And they're building this specifically to challenge the big players. They've brought in Jony Ive, the former Apple design chief, and crucially, they're actively trying to recruit Apple's key contract manufacturers, Luxshare and Gore-Tex specifically, plus hardware engineers.
Okay, that's more than just building a device. Sounds like they're trying to clone the Apple supply chain playbook. That feels like the real tell here. Why is grabbing Apple's manufacturers so significant?
Well, it signals they want to replicate what's arguably the hardest part of Apple's success: achieving massive scale with tight quality control. You can have the best AI model, sure, but the hardware feels cheap or it's buggy or it breaks, the user experience just falls apart. By targeting Luxshare and Gore-Tex, OpenAI isn't just buying factory space. They're trying to inherit that deep institutional knowledge needed to make millions of premium, really tightly integrated devices. It's a direct shot at the ecosystem dominance of Apple, Google, and Amazon.
That drive for total control, from the cloud model right down to the physical gadget, seems just as strong when you look at how Microsoft is weaving AI into Windows itself.
Absolutely. Microsoft is being incredibly aggressive about embedding generative AI directly into, everyday Windows workflows, making AI feel like it's just always there.
Right. The latest Windows 11 Insider Preview build 26220, I think it adds this new Share with Copilot button. It just pops up when you hover over an app's icon on the taskbar.
And the function is pretty powerful. It lets you instantly stream what's in that selected window straight to Copilot Vision for AI analysis. So you could ask Copilot to, say, explain a complex chart on your screen, identify something in a picture, or even translate text on the fly.
Wow. So if the AI can instantly see and interpret basically everything on your screen,
Yeah.
what does that mean for app developers and for
Oh.
system resources? It sounds like every piece of software now has to live alongside this AI layer.
It really does. This move hammers home Microsoft's strategy.
Yeah.
Applications need to be designed not just to tolerate, but maybe even help these pervasive AI overlays. If you're a developer, your app can't really be a silo anymore. It has to be ready for instant AI analysis or help, which, yes, raises questions about resources and critically means potentially deeper integration with and maybe dependence on the Windows AI ecosystem. It's a strong play for developer lock-in.
Okay, so we've covered the race to control the data center with Meta, the hardware endpoint with OpenAI,
Yeah.
and the digital screen via Microsoft's OS. The next logical frontier seems to be the actual physical world.
That's a perfect segue into robotics. It really feels like the industry is shifting focus from just the abstract power of LLMs to the very concrete ability of algorithms to interact with and manipulate physical stuff. And we're seeing huge amounts of capital confirming this isn't just a side project anymore.
The valuations alone are pretty eye-watering. Figure AI, that humanoid robotics startup, just hit a $3.9 billion valuation after raising over $1 billion in Series C. And look who's backing them: NVIDIA, Intel Capital, serious players.
Their total funding is now around $2 billion dollars just since 2022, and that money seems aimed squarely at two main things. First, scaling up their fleet of robots for tough environments like factories and warehouses, and second, building the sophisticated training infrastructure needed to make those robots learn and adapt much faster.
And significantly, we're apparently seeing OpenAI quietly dipping its toes back into robotics after shutting down their division back in 2021 to focus purely on LLMs.
Yes, reports suggest they're recruiting robotics researchers again and posting jobs related to something called teleoperation training. Now, that's the key phrase. Teleoperation means humans remotely guiding the robots, which is vital for gathering huge amounts of real-world interaction data. It suggests a renewed interest in algorithms that can actually do things in the physical world, learning directly from watching humans.
That idea learning quickly from humans is also maybe making advanced automation a bit more accessible, moving beyond just those billion-dollar factory setups.
Exactly. Look at efforts to sort of democratize manufacturing. Companies like Microfactory have developed systems where, instead of needing weeks of complex coding, someone can train a robot for a pretty intricate task in just a couple of hours, literally by physically guiding its arm through the motions. This connects AI power directly to practical, accessible manufacturing, opening up precision automation for smaller businesses that could never afford traditional industrial robots.
Speaking of practical and accessible, let's quickly touch on how these big strategic shifts are already filtering down into the tools you can use right now. Maybe you'll focus less on just listing products and more on how they solve these new AI-driven needs.
That makes sense. We're seeing specialized tools popping up that directly target these new productivity bottlenecks, often in specific workflows.
Like, think about the pressure to create content faster, which that deep OS integration only intensifies. A tool like Plus AI, for example, tackles presentation making. It looks at your existing slides or outline, suggests layouts, and generates branded Google Slides almost instantly. The AI basically skips the tedious formatting part.
Another angle is the rise of low-code tools that help you bypass stretched developer resources now being pulled towards things like Copilot integration. Softr is a good example. It lets you turn data you already have, maybe an Airtable or a Google Sheet, into a working client portal really quickly. It makes data usable and interactive without needing a long engineering project.
Or, for marketing needs, tools like Capsule use AI to simplify video creation. You give it raw footage, and the AI edits it, adds transitions, delivers a polished video without needing expert editing skills. These tools feel like a direct response to this AI race, pushing every business function towards faster automation.
So it really spans the whole spectrum, doesn't it? From, existential market warnings and these massive capital bets, right down to these very specific tools designed to make your daily work just a bit quicker.
Okay, so let's tie this back to the ultimate goal. If you connect the dots between Meta pouring billions into infrastructure, that $600 billion plan, and OpenAI's push into hardware like that wearable pin, what's the final thought?
We'll consider the link. The really core question for the next, say, 5 years might not just be who has the smartest AI model, but rather who can successfully control the entire user experience.
The whole thing.
The whole thing. From the foundational cloud data centers where the models are trained, through the operating system that runs your day, all the way down to the actual physical integrated device. It's in your pocket or maybe on your wrist. That complete end-to-end control over the entire user journey, that seems to be the ultimate prize everyone is racing towards.
That is a really powerful, all-encompassing thought to end on. Thank you for joining us for this deep dive into latest strategic shifts in AI. If you found this analysis useful for getting informed quickly, please do follow the AI brief and maybe share this deep dive with someone else who needs to get caught up on where the biggest bets are really being placed right now.